Hello everyone, my name is Sean. I'm a first year PhD student studying theoretical physics here at the University of Birmingham. My work currently revolves around the field of knot theory. And before I start my PhD, I had no idea that knots could be useful in scientific research, but hopefully by the end of these 3 minutes I will have convinced you that knots are indeed useful. I don't know about you guys, but on a day-to-day basis, I find knots to be a bit of a nuisance. From charging cables getting tangled up to my shoelaces coming undone, a bit annoying. But for the cells in our bodies, knots can often pose life or death situations. And I'm going to explain that right now. So on the far left, you see an ordinary strand of DNA as you'd normally see it. But what this doesn't represent is that the average human DNA strand is actually normally about 6 feet long. And that has to be crammed inside of all of your cells. And so if you imagine a DNA strand was scaled up to be the same width as a charging cable, it would actually be about 1,000 miles long. And that ends up in it being very tangled up. Of course, cells also need to be able to divide in order to survive. And part of that is copying the DNA. But when you copy the DNA, it doesn't just magically appear to the side. Instead, the original DNA has to split itself in half down the middle lengthways, and that results in the image there with the red and black overlapping, and the DNA actually gets very tangled up and knotted together. So in order to successfully replicate, your cells somehow need to be able to divide these 2 bits of DNA, and the way it does that is sort of by cheating, and it uses special enzymes, which I've represented with the scissors there, which come in and cut the strands of DNA and allow them to pass through each other, and then in the end they glue them back together, and you end up with 2 separate bits of DNA in the end, which are identical copies, and your cell has successfully replicated and you can keep on living. However, we maybe don't always want cells to be able to replicate. For instance, some cells are harmful, like cancer cells or the cells of bacteria from bacterial infections. And so we can use our knowledge of how cells divide in the knots to create special compounds which prevent these enzymes from working. And by doing so, we inhibit the cell's ability to replicate, and we can create effective cancer treatments and antibiotics. In fact, these compounds that prevent the enzymes from working are commonly used in chemotherapy. So that's all. I hope that I've convinced you that knots can be useful, not just a nuisance. Thank you for listening.